You're ready to cheat, huh? Let me give you the authoritative red pill guide on how to cheat on your wife and get away with it. Or not. Mids Watch Ryan, welcome. I love these field reports. It's guys that are not ready to do these hardcore things, but they love talking a great game and a little bit of splash of cold water. Ryan, Mids Watch, me, talking about Jack stuff, talking about field reports 7 years ago. Here's a good one. The gist of it is, guy thinks he's ready to cheat for reasons that'll become clear soon, and then us giving him a dose of, you're not ready for that. In the upcoming Dread book, you're going to see where I talk about there are red-pilled and blue-pilled ways of cheating and the differences between them. It's a very controversial topic, but it's, real shit. We do what we do. The guy, the most prolific poster, deleted, posts ready to cheat now. Now he's deleted everything. He's removed it from all the archives. He's gone through a lot of efforts to scrub his declaration that he wants some new strange from an anonymous account. I will let you figure out whether that means he was going to go through with it or not. Obviously not. And we got some quotes from it, so I'll go straight to the Jack side and then give you some more like broad red pill things from me here. So Jack quotes the guy. He's like, well, this got real, but I can't just divorce. I'm sorry. I am staying for the kids. I also know that I'm going to play the ultimate CAD game and just start looking for lays while being emotionally uninvested in her. Another quote that's going to be from later on. Actually, you know what? I'll just read them as they go. So Ultimate CAD, who he's talking about here, is a guy who did just that. His wife cheated on him, lied about it, and so he just went cold. He's like, I'm not going to leave her. The kids are like a couple years from moving out of the home, so I am just going to open the relationship from my side, go do my thing. And he turned into an asshole. And for some reason, it gave the right amount of neurotic energy in their relationship. It actually made things work. It turns out some women just like to be the aggrieved housewife. So whatever. It's not the play, but it's a play. So Jack comes in and is like, dude, it makes no sense to go down this path without taking a beat and understanding your options. Talk to a divorce lawyer. Have an initial consult about the ramifications of divorce. Do you live in an at-fault state? Every state has no-fault divorce, but some states have at-fault divorce, where, for example, you don't need a trial separation period, which means your wife will have a lot less time to get her ducks in a row regarding assets and custody. Then again, some states don't have a trial separation period, but you absolutely need to understand all your potential outcomes and consequences.
So I used to be a pretty strong feminist. I've actually become a feminist again. Feminists, though, can be some of the worst people you'll ever meet. They can be like some of the most nasty. They'll take advantage of contradictory world values, right? Worldview, which is that like I'm talking about like psychology and mental health for men, and yet I'm in a field that like is overly feminized and shoving drugs down men's throat. And I'm like, I'm still recommending it because I don't want to lose like the baby out with the bathwater. Just because not all therapists are well trained to work with men. Just because a lot of therapists might even be biased against particularly like incel type men. If they hear misogynistic language at all, they might like shut you down. So and it was just difficult because I didn't want to be like super like nasty and mean or anything.
I'm going to go up on a limb and say you're stuck in a middling, underwhelming career that pays some of the bills but not much else, which means you won't have many assets to split, so that's another consideration. Your main drawback in divorce is less time with your kids, but there's a lot of things you can do to win primary custody. For example, try getting a lower paying job with much more flexibility. Now she's the one that has to work the overtime hours and you're super dad zipping around town with your kids and documenting all the time you spend with them. Look, there's guys here like the Ultimate CAD and Fire Tempered, which if you guys remember his article from Gaining Control of the Treasury, talk about their decisions to stay in a marriage and get their sexual needs met elsewhere, but I would say those decisions were made very carefully and deliberately. For example, CAD knows that any divorce means his wife would move back in with her parents, and they live 8 hours away, so even if he was primary as the custodial parent, split custody will be a huge pain in the ass. Furthermore, at least based on his field reports, that he knows I love to read so much. By the way, they hate each other. It's absolutely hilarious watching them bicker. But anyways, I'd imagine he'd just reply any hard proof of infidelity with his wife and say just, yeah, so? And he'd be pretty sure his wife would still prefer tolerating his sexual activities instead of getting divorced. Now, does that apply to your marriage? Because if you think your wife would stay loyal because her family is local or because there's only a few good areas for her job and she's unlikely to relocate, then you have a completely different set of calculus to consider. So back to the putting together the pieces of this thing. All the trust that had been built up with us is gone. I'm not emotional. I've been through all of that once before. I'm calculating. I'll stay for the kids, but I'm getting an office outside the home, and I'm going to spend afternoons gaming and finding local MILFs down to whatever. Such is life. It's like, look, man, let me give you a final thought here. Back in my high school days, I was a stupid nice guy who whined about the friend zone. I remember feeling betrayed by that one girl, and I'm sure I went on the same rant like you did. I'd imagine a large number of guys here just read and cringed about all this because they recall doing something similar, but hopefully they're old enough that there wasn't something like Facebook to forever immortalize their fedora. My point is this: take off the fucking fedora, because somehow it's messing up your brainwaves right now. Because you're foaming at the mouth doesn't mean you're not reacting stupidly and emotional. If you weren't emotional, you'd be feeling concentrated and calm, piecing together and calculating your next steps forward to get the greatest gain for yourself. And I can tell you, this is very much not what you're doing. So like I said, take off the fedora, shave the neckbeard, get your shit together, and come up with a real plan that's a little more detailed than fuck chicks and who cares. So I'd strongly recommend you reach out to some of the other guys and dump this emotional puke on them, because they're actually your friends and they might listen. Anyways. So the guy rants some more Deering stuff. He deleted it, so it's gone, but he goes like, and you realize this is just a literal admission you're in your wife's frame, right? And what he means by that is he's reactive. The wife does something, and so he reacts to it emotionally. Knee-jerk reactions. If you're always doing that, if she's able to manipulate you into this behavior so easily, then yeah, you're in their frame. Go figure out a way to be stronger. In your shoes, I'd reach out to my friends, ask if they're up for a visitor, make a road trip out of it, bring a notebook, make some stops, jot some thoughts. You know, get all your old albums, live your midlife crisis stuff. Yeah, hang out with a buddy, go to a dive bar, rant about your whore of a wife, keep in touch with your kids, talk to them on the phone, let your wife know you're still alive, and that's about it. Anyways, thank them the next morning, go make yourself an omelet, get back in your car, drive home. Essentially just take like a weekend and just hide, just go walk away. It's actually in No More Mr. Nice Guy. Like, just try taking a vacation without telling anybody. Just go and do something specifically selfish for yourself. And again, the guy just continues ranting more about some... And the only part we got of it left, he's like, it's like a year ago when she totaled our car and broke all my trust. And Jack's like, hey, really, what happened this year ago, man? I guess the guy's been ranting for like 3 days on this thing. I mean, it must have been really bad. But anyways, a lot of it's just details on things that we don't really know. But here's the point. He goes, you've been sitting here ranting about all these ways you've been done wrong, but you're so vague. You're never specific about any of them. You realize you're not telling us any of this stuff, right? You're just assuming, because you're living off of emotions. You can't describe things. So anyways, and they kind of try to piece it together. She never physically cheated on him. She trashed the car. She had an emotional affair. And that's the gist of it. And it's really like, you'll be fine. But here's the problem. And here's the takeaway from you guys. This is my take on it. This is my red-pilled take. Is that most guys, when they're in a situation where they get angry, it's for 2 reasons. There is a grievance and there is a pain. Nobody gets angry by themselves. If you stub your toe, you're hurt, but you're not angry. If your wife stubs your toe, you're angry. Angry is the only social emotion that way. And so in this case, his wife made him angry and he's reacting emotionally. And then it felt very good to be, I'm the red-pilled guy. I'm going to cheat on my wife and it's going to be fucking awesome. And it's a validation-seeking thing. Remember the beginning when I told you there's 2 different ways of cheating, a red pill and a blue pill? This is the difference. A blue-pilled cheating is about seeking validation. You flirt with everybody, you hit on everybody because you want somebody else to want you, to desire you, and that's the validation you're searching for. I've seen it before with friends. I've seen them ruin their marriages with sleeping with horribly ugly women because it was just the one girl that would actually touch them, and that was it. As opposed to a red pill one, which is what he's referring to here with Ultimate Cad or Fire Tempered, which is a dog is just going to be a dog. They had basically checked out of the marriage, but for like financial reasons, divorce reasons, or the kids were almost out of the house. It's like a temporary situation. Or like, you know what? I'm just going to go get my needs met and whatever happens, happens. They work on the risks. Like, this is the risk of what could happen if things all blow up in my face. If I get accused of it, just lie. And I'm not saying it's good. I don't really care if it's good. It's not my life. I'm not the one that's to live with the consequences, but they are, and they made that decision. And it's probably the best piece of advice that the Ultimate Cat ever came up with. And he goes, I am never going to put a guide on how I cheat on my wife in here, because if you need to read it, you're not ready. And it's pretty good. I would say that much. If you're at the point where you're like, I want to learn how to sleep with all these women and open up the marriage on my side and all this bravado shit, you're not ready for it, and it's going to blow up in your face, and I guarantee you you're doing it for validation. So if you make that decision to be the immoral guy, and you're more than welcome to, it's your life to do it. Do it properly, learn the consequences, build yourself a frame. Although I will argue that by the time you get there, most guys don't want to anymore, because they find once they get their shit together, once they get a frame, once they have healthy boundaries, once they're attractive, once they're no longer unattractive, they are surprised to find out their wife actually loves them and wants to sleep with them more. So take that lesson for what it's worth. And if you're going to rant on the internet about stuff, do pick a username that's not like attached to your Facebook. The last thing you need is to be put on blast because you wanted to vent to some anonymous strangers.